republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. This is the elementary principal report. Can you hear me? Do you need this thing on?
Don't sing it.
Oh, that's a promise. How do you turn this on? Okay. Can you hear me now? No.
I can talk louder now.
It's true.
All right, I'll talk louder. I don't know how to speak.
Ginny wanted me to provide an update on the voting rules for the Dannon ShopRite Brick Fair Project for the America Grant. Has anyone voted?
Yes. Been voting.
All right, so you know what the process is. She would also like to thank Santa and Mrs. Claus for visiting the students on 12/22. And would like to thank Linda Bose for playing the piano in the lobby and serenading students, faculty, and staff with holiday carols the morning of the 22nd. Upcoming events are Friday and Saturday, January 20th and 21st. Elementary production of Disney Review, snow date of 1/26 and 27th. And finally, February 6th, PTA sponsored assembly, Eastern European Music and Dance Troupe, 1:30 p.m. for all grades. And Ginny would be here, but she had a medical issue.
Are there any questions that we can answer? Anybody? Okay. I don't know if this is on. Does it sound any different? It does? Oh, okay, good. So then we will ask for the senior high school, Ms. Matson, please.
Thank you. Good evening. And I'll try to talk loud. We have instituted in the past couple of months not only a teacher of the month or week, but also a student who does community service. And please, if you come and visit, we post it in the front as you come in the building, the pictures, and we have T-shirts, and it's faculty selects the student, and faculty and I wasn't yelling loud enough.
Not loud enough.
Yeah. And we also do a teacher, and we're having a great time with it, and it really has done wonderful things to let us know all that our kids do that we may not necessarily be aware of, that they're doing out there in the community besides what they're doing at school. And also to recognize those kids who have shown enormous amounts of improvement scholastically. So we are loving that very, very much. Week after next are the infamous January Regents exams. We are ready for those. We are hopeful that this will be the last time with the January Regents that it's necessary for us to take the exams to be scored at BOCES by June, and I'm sure very quickly. We have asked, and I'm sure we'll be okay, our own scanner, and we have a person who has all of the clearances so that we can score our Regents exams in June, even though the Part 2s have to go out for other readers. We will be able to turn them around much more quickly and much less stress, especially in that last week, when we have kids who we need to get the scores as quickly as possible because their graduation on Saturday depends on whether they pass the test or not. So we're hoping very much for that. We had a wonderful winter concert. Both our instrumental and our vocal kids did a fantastic job. And we also had some of our chorus kids who were out and about in the building those last days, the Tuesday and Wednesday, caroling, and it was very enjoyable. We also had planned for that Friday, when, of course, we had snow, and poor Kim crushed beyond understanding because she had worked so hard. We do some very special things on the last 2 periods of the last day, and we weren't in session, but it would have been very exciting. Films and games, etc., etc. Scary though it may seem, the yearbook is in some of its final stages of production, and we will have hopefully 2 more staff who will be advising for the yearbook, because the advisor we usually have is out ill. And we were discussing it today, and we believe the cost of the yearbook is going to be $45. They haven't confirmed that with us, and we will be able, if a person who's not a senior or a student wants to purchase a yearbook. We actually had somebody come in today who wanted to order one. So we're very pleased with that. Next Wednesday, we're going to have a visitation from the Sullivan County Democrat. They highlight a school district, I think, once a month in their readership area. So they will be visiting our high school Wednesday morning, and then our elementary school in the afternoon. So we're looking forward to that. And did I miss anything, Kim? I don't know. I have to ask Kim. Kim should be on the payroll, but what do we miss? Oh, and we did the PBS honors thing, which was wonderful. All of our kids who made either principal's honor roll, high honor roll, wonderful PBIS breakfast. All the kids get a free breakfast. They have to, their averages have to be a certain place, and also no referrals for that 10 weeks. And we had 157, I think, out of actually 255, I believe, is our enrollment. It was a good time, and we did 2 periods, and John ate breakfast. What? What did you start to say? I'm sorry.
On the Performing Arts Club, kids begin Charlie Brown.
Yes, we have the cast and whatever, and your good man Charlie Brown will soon take over the high school, you know.
Oh, don't shut that off.
I'll turn it back on. You can turn it on.
It'll melt.
You can't get it to plug anymore.
I know, it's so hard to hear. Is there any way to turn that back on?
It was 87 ice creams. I don't know.
Oh, wait.
Did we miss anything else? Because it's not just Kim. I have like a whole bunch of my students who are as tired as I am. And everything is good at the high school.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And this was requested by the board, and it was before I came. The board had requested an explanation relative to last year's graduation rate. And
Maybe you can stand up and be
Sure.
closer, because we really can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The
I
board
don't know if that
had
microphone
requested
is
the
close to work.
information about last year's graduation rate. And I think it's important at the outset to understand that a cohort of students is created every single year in ninth grade. And it's created by the information we provide to the RIC. Ooh.
Yes.
I won't get electrocuted right now.
Good job.
Wonderful. Oh, that's better. So we establish the number in the cohort every year. As soon as we send our attendance to the RIC at Ulster BOCES, and the date is usually the end of September, that's the number in the cohort. That's what the state of New York will use forever for those kids, no matter what happens to them. So I hope that the explanation that I've written then becomes self-evident. The original cohort last year was 61 kids when they started as freshmen. In that cohort of 61, the next year when they were sophomores, 4 students transferred out of the district. They still remain in our cohort. Don't ask, I do SED work and I still don't understand. Theoretically, they're picked up someplace else if they stay in state. And if somebody did an audit, it should come out 0. I've never seen one yet, but that's what should happen. We also had,
A bad connection.
It's not you, it's the speaker.
does that work? That didn't work.
No, the speaker's off again. There was a blue light on now. There's not.
Yelling louder, she said. We also, when they became juniors, we had 4 students who either transferred, were court-placed, which is something beyond our control, or dropped. Because by the time they get to be juniors, they can drop in the year, at the end of the school year, when they turn 17. So if they turn 17 in October of their junior year, they have to stay until June. But then they're allowed to drop out of school, if legally. If they turn 17 in May, they can drop out of school in June. Dropouts are harder for us to track unless we pick them up as GED kids. And then, and in their senior year, we had another 4 students who were, again, rehab placement, or we tracked them because they were now online registered for a GED. Now, the weird part of that is that, according to state law, a student cannot complete a GED successfully before his or her cohort graduates from high school. In reality, that isn't true. It's happening.
Well, what they do is they, at least this has been the excuse all along, they take those, and maybe it's a good thing, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Right.
They take those students into a GED preparatory program where they are helping them get the skills that they need in order to complete high school and or take a GED, and then after their cohort graduates, they take their GED.
Correct.
They can't take it while their cohort's still.
They shouldn't, but occasionally, and again, fortunately, I'm not a principal at BOCES. So, from the mathematics, hopefully it makes sense, that we had 61 kids in the original cohort, 49 were remaining in the cohort when they entered their senior year.
That's 2016, 17.
16, 17,
At the
there's
bottom
an
of the
error
first
on
page.
the page.
Not 17,
And I apologize for that.
16, 17.
So the surviving
Bottom
cohort,
of the first page.
the surviving cohort was at 49. Then we have, and we know about that at the time the cohort is created, we're going to have kids who are in a 5-year program, starting in 10th grade. And we had 2 of those, so they have to be subtracted. Then we have 4 more online kids who are, again, GED/BOCES, and 1 student last year who you couldn't predict because they hadn't taken the June regions. And graduation was pending the result of the June regions. And then the 4 who, and we have a good success rate with our kids who need to take the regions in August. And we had 4 kids do that. So they had an August graduation date. So if you take the 49 in the survival cohort and you subtract the 13 kids who completed other ways besides ours,
Right.
they took a different pathway, then you get to 36
Who actually graduated.
who graduate.
And the state will not recognize any other way of completing high school except passing regents and graduating in district. So that's why it is so hard in June, not even in August. All those August kids are considered non-completers.
And
By the state.
it's also a problem for the number of kids who we have who are homeschooled.
Yes.
And
They're not cohort two.
It's a rising now. They're in the cohort. However, they are not eligible because they're homeschooled to ever receive a diploma from Eldred
Right.
because they have not satisfied the requirements. Now, occasionally you'll get a homeschooled child who parents will bring in to take Regents exams, etc. That may be a different story, but homeschooled kids may not receive a local diploma. And obviously can't get a Regents diploma either because they haven't sat for the exam. And that's a problem in the high school for homeschooled kids, mainly because of science and the labs. Because they must, and it's a very tedious process, and kids sign on the dotted line on the day they take their science regions that they in fact have completed 30 labs. And our science teachers have to, they can be audited and they keep, it's voluminous records and we have to keep them for a year to show that they in fact have had the 996 minutes, or you already look tired. You didn't realize how much lab work you had to do.
1,200?
Of lab work.
1,200 minutes.
1,000, whatever it is, Bonnie. So that's the explanation of last year's cohort, and I hope that's clear. Thank you. You're very welcome.
It is, and thank you very much. That was good information. And again, a reminder that some of these kids are out of our control from the time they leave because of the court or because they're in a BOCES 5-year program. So they're ours, but they're just not counted by the state.
They belong to us, and I love them forever.
That's right. And we do the best to get them through and help them get the best that they can get. So,
Yes, and for example, we have a student who is 20 and has returned to us
yes.
because he didn't believe what we told him, you know, when they were 17. And he came back and he said, "You were right." And he's under 21, so
So he came back.
how we do him in a cohort, I don't know. But I'll figure it out.
So the 13 that completed in other ways, that's a local diploma? Is that what?
No, not necessarily. It is the ways like they might do GED.
Right.
The 13 who are completing, who completed or are completing graduation requirements. In other words, they're not
easy.